Good day to all. In this particular video, we are looking into the types of simple epithelium. So, we know that simple epithelium can be divided into 5 parts. The first 3 are as per the structural modification, that is simple squamous, simple cuboidal, simple columnar. Then comes modification, that is the ciliated epithelium and the glandular epithelium. These both epithelium are modifications of cuboidal or columnar cells. So here also ciliated is modification of these two, and glandular epithelium, it is also modification of cuboidal or columnar cells. So the thing to be noted here is that here squamous cells cannot have cilia, as well as squamous cells will not form glandular epithelium. There will only be cuboidal cells or columnar cells which will form these modifications. Now, talking of the ciliated epithelium, if small hair-like projections are present on the surface of these cells, those small hair-like projections are called as cilia, and if cilia is present on the surface, then we can call it ciliated epithelium. Let us see in this particular diagram. Here, initially, if we see, so single layer is present. If single layer is present, it will be an example of simple epithelium. The cells are tall and slender, column-like cells. So, it will be columnar epithelium. Now, lastly, if we see this surface, so here small hair-like projections are present, and these hair-like projections are cilia. So that is why it will be an example of ciliated columnar epithelium. Talking about the function of cilia or ciliated epithelium, the function is that these move particles or mucus in a specific direction. Talking about the examples, these cilia are usually present on inner surface of hollow organs. The first example is the bronchioles and the second example is fallopian tubes. Now, if we talk of bronchioles, then lot of dust and fibers go inside our respiratory system with air. Now, what these cilia inside bronchioles will do, they will beat in opposite direction and they will take the dust outside. Similarly, if we talk about fallopian tubes will have ova which will be present inside it. Now, we very well know that ova is non-motile and ova moves with the help of these cilia in the fallopian tubes. So, that is how ciliated epithelium works in our body. The next epithelium is glandular epithelium. Now, it is also modification of either cuboidal or columnar cells which change their function and become specialized for secretion. Now, we can divide this glandular epithelium as per two types. In the first type, we will divide it on the basis of mode of pouring of secretion, and the second type we will divide it on the basis of number of cells. So let us see the first type on the basis of mode of pouring of secretion. So on the basis of this mode, there are two types. There will be exocrine glands, there will be endocrine glands. So exocrine glands are the glands which have ducts or tubes. So we can say that these are duct glands. If ducts or tubes are absent, then we call these glands as endocrine glands or the ductless glands. Talking about the products that are released by these two types of glands. So, in the first case, there will be product which will be released by ducts or tubes since it is present. But in the case of endocrine glands, as we had talked that glands were absent, so the secretion will be directly released in fluid which is bathing the gland. So let us try to understand this particular point. If we say that this is endocrine gland, now this endocrine gland will not have any duct or tube, but the secretion will be coming out. So around this endocrine gland, usually there will be blood or it can be lymph which is present. So whatever secretion comes out of this, it will diffuse into the fluid, that is blood or lymph, in which this particular gland is bathed into. Talking about the secretions, so endocrine glands secrete hormones and all the rest secretions are secreted by exocrine glands. So examples can be enzymes, mucus, saliva, sweat, oil, milk, earwax and other cell products. So leaving hormones all will be the secretion of exocrine glands. Lastly, talking about the examples of exo and endocrine glands. So endocrine glands are pituitary gland, pineal gland, thyroid, parathyroid, thymus, adrenal. So these are examples of endocrine glands, and the rest glands apart from endocrine glands are the exocrine glands. So we can say digestive glands, salivary glands, sweat glands, mammary glands. These all will be examples of exocrine glands. So this is the first way of classifying glandular epithelium. The second way is on the basis of number of cells. If the gland has just one cell, we call it unicellular gland. And if the gland has cluster of cells or many cells, we call it multicellular gland. So let us look into the diagrams over here. So in the first case, this is an example of unicellular gland. So here each of this cell. So this is the one cell and it is example of unicellular gland. So in this diagram we can say 3-4 unicellular glands are present over here. So these will not depend on any other cell. One single cell will be able to do the secretion. Example which we see here is goblet cells. Goblet cells secrete mucus and come into unicellular glands. Now, apart from goblet cells, most glands are examples of multicellular glands, and this is the diagram of multicellular gland.